اللهم لعن الإصابة التي جهدت الحسين وشعية وباعية وتبعت على قتله، اللهم لعنهم جميعا. السلام عليك السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى أرواح التي هلت بفنائك، عليكم مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، وعلى جله الله الآخر الأحد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خذ أنت أول ظالم باللعين مني وعبد به أول ثم العاني الثانية وثالثة ورابعة. اللهم لعن يزيد خامسا ولعن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجانة وعمر بن سعد وشمرة وعلي أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان وإلى يوم القيامة. اللهم لك الحمد حمد شاكرين لك على المسابي بالحمد لله على عظيم الرزية. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا وحجوهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. درود بر آل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. نعرہ تکبیر، اللہ اکبر. نعرہ تکبیر، اللہ اکبر. نعرہ رسالت یا رسول اللہ. نعرہ رسالت یا رسول اللہ. نعرہ حیدری یا علی. نعرہ حیدری یا علی. بار دیگر بلندتر صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Can I ask all of the young people to come forward towards the front? This part is just for you. So all of the youth, our young Jawan, Azadari, all of you guys come close, please. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على القوم الظالمين جزاء إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Some of the young people didn't answer me. To the kids, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
This part of the program, inshallah, is before the main lecture and it is just for the children and the youth. So please forgive me to the elders, inshallah, for things you already know. Guys, come towards the front, inshallah. Now, all of you listening, please, guys, listening, brother, every night, inshallah, for this series that I'm here, we're going to start like this. I'm going to come and I'm going to speak just to you and I'm going to ask you a few questions. We're going to learn some things together, inshallah. And then when I'm done, someone's giving mercy, we go to the Majlis and we carry on. But this part is just for you to try and connect to the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt and learn from Ahlul Bayt. Okay? Alright. Now, the topic we're going to be looking at for the time that I'm with you is very important. And it is on knowing the Imam of your time.
MashaAllah.
The Imam of our time, who is he? What is his personality like? How can I meet him? What's his name? And how do I live the kind of life where he will like me and be happy with me? Okay, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Normally it's good to start with the name of the person we're speaking about, but I don't even know your name to know who I'm speaking to. So can I ask you, I'll look at you and try to tell me what is your name, just so we can understand each other a little bit more. Brother, what's your name? Abbas, what about you? Ali, brother next to you? What's your name?
Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad? Oh, mashallah. And sisters, you think what are your names? Zara, mashallah.
Say your name.
What's your name? Zainab Hussain? Mashallah. What's your name? Zara Hussain, amazing. And this
Qasim Abbas.
He's too young to speak, isn't it? Okay, Qasim Abbas, mashallah. Nice to meet you, Qasim Abbas. And what about you, brothers? What are your names?
Ali Oscar.
Fizan?
Fazal.
Fazal, mashallah. Boys? Imran? Ali and? Rohit, mashallah. Amazing Quran recitation by the way, Rohit. Mashallah. And your names? Pardon me? Hazaifa, mashallah. And your name? Iltizar. Anyone else here think they are youth? I have missed them because Okay, mashallah, amazing guys. My name is Abbas. You call me Abbas, or say Abbas, whatever you want. There's no problem. You know something? When we start, do you know why I ask for a name? Because when you meet someone for the first time, you ask, what's your name? In order to get to know them. When you go to school for the first time, they're like, what's your name? They do the register in class. What's your name? That's how you identify yourself. Your name is how people even know you in the first place. Okay. Who knows the name of Imam of our time? Who knows his name? Hands up and I'll pick you inshallah. Who knows his name? Go ahead, Imam.
Imam Mahdi.
Mahdi alayhi salam. Anyone know his actual name? Because that's his title, his laqab. Mahdi, which means the one who has guidance. He's the one who guides us. But what's his real name? His actual first name? Go ahead. Muhammad. Amazing. So that's the Imam alayhi salam's name. Imam was born a long time ago. Anyone know exactly how long ago Imam Zaman alayhi salam was born? Someone calculated it. I think it was 1,390 something. I don't know. Go ahead. Do you know the exact number?
1135.
1135. That sounds familiar. I think 1134 actually. 1134. Yeah? Okay, good. MashaAllah. Now Imam alayhi salam is our Imam alive right now. Imam is living on this earth. Imam is your Imam. When you die, you'll be asked a question in your grave. Who was your Imam? If you say any other name, you'll be wrong. If you say Imam Hussain Islam, that's not right. Imam Ali is not right. Who's your Imam of your time? Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam. That's his name, that's his title. Okay, you have to know your Imam. Now, some people, have you ever seen a picture of the Imams where they have like this white face in front of them? You know, you have that picture and the hood? Who thinks Imam actually looks like that? Good. Doesn't look like that. Imam alayhi salam looks like a normal face. Like all of me and you have. A very beautiful face. The face of the son of Zahra alayhi salam. But he has a normal face. We don't show his face in our pictures because we don't know what he looks like. Okay. Today, I just want to mention to you one narration and I want you guys to think about it. And as we keep going for the next few days, we're going to build on it. So by the last day, you know who Imam Zaman alayhi salam is and how you can go to sleep. And you can speak to the Imam before you go to sleep. But first, I have to ask all of you a question. You guys ready for a quick question? Can the ladies hear, by the way? Is there
Yes,
yes. So the ladies can hear as well. The sisters who are there. Question to all of you. Our 11th Imam says that the Imam of our time, Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, he is like the sun behind the clouds. Okay? Imam Zaman alayhi salam, if you don't know what he's like the sun behind the clouds. Take like 1 minute, you can talk to the person next to you. What does it mean that Imam is like sun behind the clouds? What does that even mean? You can talk to the person next to you, think about it.
Here, this way.
It's okay to talk to each other, it's fine. Now you're allowed to talk, but not when I'm speaking. Go ahead.
Sorry, what was the question?
The question is, Imam alayhi salam is like the sun behind the clouds.
Sun behind the
But
clouds.
how can a person be like the sun behind the clouds? What does that even mean, sun behind the clouds? You look outside, you got clouds and the sun behind. Somehow, that's like how my Imam is. What does it mean? 30 more seconds, think about it. Not yet, bro. I'll come to you, inshallah. Give 10 more seconds, inshallah. Alright. Okay, good. Najaf, question to all of you. And we want to know about Imam. Who is he? Like I said, he's on this earth right now. He walks on this earth. He has a house in this earth. Some people think he might have a family. We have different narrations on this. Imam Zawana is wujud, he's alive on this earth. But I can't just go and meet him like I can meet my friends normally, apparently. And to describe him, he's like the sun behind the clouds. But what does it mean, he's like the sun behind the clouds? What does that mean, sun behind the clouds? Anyone got any ideas? MashaAllah, some amazing hands. You guys are awesome. What do you think?
So he's covered by the clouds, so that means that he's hiding. But when the clouds move, he's still there.
Okay, so he's covered by the clouds, so he's hiding. When the clouds move, you can see him. He's there. Interesting point. Brother, go ahead. Well, do you want to say something? I saw your hand. Okay, inshallah. If you feel like it, you can say it. Go ahead, brother.
He's there, but you can't see him.
He's there, but you can't see him. Okay. Go ahead.
Even if it's hidden, we can still benefit from him.
We can still benefit from him.
Wow.
Amazing, because when the sun covers the clouds, it's still daytime, there's still light in the world, but you can't see the sun directly. Very good answer. Any others, yeah, brother?
That the dark is like the soldiers trying to attack Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the light is the family.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. In a world of darkness and enemies,
Wow.
the one light is Ali Muhammad in that world.
MashaAllah.
Amazing point. He can be a zakir in the future. Yeah. MashaAllah, some very good points. Before I move on, anyone want to mention anything if they feel like sharing? It's up to you. Anyone want to say anything? Okay. Have any of you heard this word, Imam is in ghaiba? You've heard that word before? And they say ghaiba means Imam alayhi salam is in hiding. Okay? But that's not true. Imam is not in hiding. Guys listening over the back, brothers? Imam is not in hiding. It's not true. And if anyone says to you that Imam is hiding, they don't understand the Imam. Imam is not hiding, Imam is not absent like this. That's not true. Imam is like the sun in the sky. Is the sun hiding? Is the sun hidden away? Even when it's night time, it's still the sun is still up there in the sky and somewhere in the earth. Do you know what sun behind the clouds means? I'll show you what it means. Everyone put one hand in front of you. Put one hand in front of you, everyone. And cover your own eyes like that. Okay. Can you see me if you cover your own face? No. Okay, hands down now. Can you see me now?
Yes.
This hand is like the clouds. Who put the clouds in front? Did I put it or did you put it in front of your face? You put it. You put your own hand in front of the clouds. Okay. So if we can't see Imam Zaman, is it because of him or because of us?
Because of us.
We put the cloud in front. We put that cloud. He didn't come and say, you can't see me now. He's alive. He's on this earth. I'm the one who put the cloud between me and him. So when we say Imam Zamana alayhi salam is like the sun behind the clouds, it means he is ghaib. He can't be seen. Not because of him, because of me. I have done something or not done something. And if I change something, I can see him. Just like that. So one of our great ulama, he says that don't say the Imam is in ghaiba. Say you are ghaib. He didn't go anywhere. For when you need him in dua, he answers your dua. And even when you call upon him, he answers your dua. And Allah sends all his amr to him on this earth. That's not changed. I can't see him because I've done something but I don't recognize him. He's not in hiding. So from now on, if anyone says to you, what does ghaibat mean? It's haram for you to say the word hiding. Can't say he's in hiding. Imam didn't go anywhere. I have not gone towards him. Okay? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Okay, Imam is what? Sun behind the clouds. Okay? He's there. He shines brightly like the sun. The cloud is something that I put to stop myself from seeing him. Question to all of you. Can we meet the Imam right now if we wanted? Who thinks yes, hands up? Who thinks no, hands up? Okay. Hands down, please. Would you be surprising if I told you that some people, Imam himself goes and visits regularly? Imam is on this earth. You think these people doesn't meet all the time? He has friends. We have letters from the Imam. There are riwayat of people who the Imam is in constant communication with. So now we have to ask a question. Why are there some people who have no cloud in front of them? And some people have a cloud in front of them. And all of you guys, how can you be someone that you have no cloud in front of you to see the Imam alayhi salam? Ghaibat means, doesn't mean I can't see him, it means I can't recognize him. It's a very big difference. If someone walked in right now who we don't know, we can all see that person, but you don't know who he is. That's called recognizing. I'll give you an example. Now you guys know me, you've seen me. If you saw me in the street, walking around, you would see me walking, but you wouldn't know who I am. Similarly, many people see the Imam alayhi salam, they see him all the time. But when they die and then they see him again, and they say, this is the Imam, they're like, oh, hang on a second, I saw you in my life. I just didn't know you were the Imam. I didn't recognize you. This is what recognizing ma'rifat of the Imam means this. That he's in ghaibat means he's alive on this earth. But I don't know what he looks like. So maybe you've met him. Maybe one day you were lost and some stranger, Imam does things like this, came and helped you one day. That could have been the Imam. He's wujood, he's real, he's haqiqat. Imagine one day you go to a ziyarat and you see a man at ziyarat. Because Imam Syed goes to Karbala. Maybe that was the Imam alayhi salam. Those who've been to Hajj, the hadith says Imam alayhi salam goes to Hajj every year. Maybe you saw that, but you didn't know what he looks like. So the next question is, how do I make sure I live the kind of life where I recognize the Imam, not just I see him like I see everyone else? One of our du'as, we say that, how is it in du'a nutba, that how can I see everyone's face but I can't see your face? It's not fair. I can see so many people all around, I can see my teachers and friends in school, but why can't I see my Imam? I don't like that anymore. So today, tomorrow, inshallah, and the day after, when I speak to you, I'm going to go through different advice and tips about how you can meet your Imam and you can recognize your Imam. So just to summarize what we've learned today, inshallah, and I'll come towards the ending. Imam alayhi salam is our Imam. He's our Imam of our time. 12th Imam, Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam. His real name is Imam Mahdi. and Muhammad is his name. This Imam is our Imam right now. He is alive on this earth. He has a real face. We don't know what he looks like. We can't recognize him. But there are ways. And there are ways that you can live such life. The Imam himself comes and sees you and tells you, I am the Imam. This is very real. And the last point is this. Imam is like the sun behind the clouds. Sun behind the clouds means if I do something bad, I can put a cloud in front of me and the Imam. But if I stop doing bad deeds, I can move those clouds away and I can recognize my Imam. So I'll ask all of you, go home, think about this. If you have any questions, tomorrow at this time, come and ask them. And we'll continue our journey of Imam Zamana alayhi salam, inshallah. اللهم نسألك بحق فاطمة وبها على بنيها والسر المستعود فيها أن تصلي على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وجل فرجهم. Will reply after. Essence. We all recognize essence, but he doesn't want to decide.
It's not that I don't want to, I'm not prepared.
None of you guys do any mercy as well. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Nara takbir. Allahu Akbar. Nara takbir. Allahu Akbar. Nara risalat. Ya Rasulullah. Nara risalat. Ya Rasulullah. Akta Imam Nara Hadari. Ya Ali. Akta Imam Nara Hadari. Ya Ali. Durud bar ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wajil. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा दिल सीने में जब तक है भूलेगा न गम तेरा देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा दिल सीने में जब तक है भूलेगा न गम तेरा मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा
देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा
दिल सीने में जब तक है भूलेगा न गम तेरा देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा ज़ैनब की दुआ बन कर एक वक्त वो आएगा, ज़ैनब की दुआ बन कर एक वक्त वो आएगा, हर घर में सजा होगा अब्बास अलम तेरा। दिल सीने में जब तक है भूलेगा न गम तेरा, देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है गम तेरा, देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा। दिल सीने में जब तक है भूलेगा न गम तेरा, देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा, देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा। आ जाती है ज़हरा भी ज़ैनबी ज़ियारत को, आ जाती है ज़हरा भी ज़ैनबी ज़ियारत को, जब 8 मुहर्रम को उठता है अलम तेरा। दिल सीने में जब तक है भूलेगा न गम तेरा, देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा, देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा, देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा। ताबूत जब उठता है शबीर का ए गाजी, ताबूत जब उठता है शबीर का ए गाजी, ताबूत के आगे भी चलता है अलम तेरा। दिल सीने में जब तक है भूलेगा न गम तेरा, देख मेरे गाजी ऊंचा है अलम तेरा, देख मेरे गाजी।
दुरूद बराले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद, अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद।
If you all permit me, I want to recite something for Ali Razvar, as if a mother stroking to a son. And how does a mother put a baby to sleep? By singing lullaby. And what is the lullaby of Ali Razvar? Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar. If you all recite with me, Bismillah. Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar. Close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar. To this world a stranger, danger surrounds you from every side. To this world a stranger, danger surrounds you from every side. Too young to be walking, talking, too young to stand up and fight. Seeing you from the tents, torments, it hurts to see you get hurt. Imam Hussein went to quench you, but Hurmala quench your thirst. My Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar. I pictured you growing, sowing seeds of happiness in me. I pictured you growing, sowing seeds of happiness in me. I live for when you smile, my child. My worries vanish from me. My weakness and my strength both rest in His holy arms you lay. My strength and my weakness breathless. You're even too young to play. My Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar. How can your mom explain her pain? How did my arms let you leave? How can your mom explain her pain? How did my arms let you leave? Knowing I may never ever breathe in the air that you breathe. How can your mom explain her pain? How did my arms let you leave? Knowing I may never ever breathe in the air that you breathe. Only when in my care, my dear, I'd whisper when around you, fearful that I'll wake you, ache you. Now only aches around you. My Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar. How can my world not shake, earthquake? How can my world remain calm? How can my world not shake, earthquake? How can my world remain calm? When Hussein was shaken, broken, holding my world in his arms. His arms were your cradle, angel. Your blanket was the sun's heat. I watched you with sorrow, the arrow, rocking my baby to sleep. My Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, your mother's cries. Ali Asghar, close your two eyes. Your lullabies, mother's cries. Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar, Ali Asghar. To this world a stranger, danger surrounds you from every side. Too young to be walking, talking, too young to stand up and fight. Seeing you from the tense torments, it hurts to see you get hurt. Imam Hussein went to quench you, but Hurmala quench your thirst. My Ali Asghar. Salawat ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Durood wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wajil farajah. Durood wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Nara takbir, Allahu Akbar. Nara takbir, Allahu Akbar. Nara risalat, Ya Rasulallah. Nara risalat, Ya Rasulallah. Abda Imam Nara Hadari, Ya Ali. Abda Imam Nara Hadari, Ya Ali. Durood wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wajil.
Surah Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يعد حقه المجتهدون. الذي لا يدرك بعد الهمم ولا يناله غوص الفطن. الذي ليس لصفته حد محدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت ممدود ولا عجل ممدود. أما بعد، صلى الله على سيدنا ومولانا حبيب إله العالمين وخاتم النبيين وخلق عظيم حبيبنا وحبيبك المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، ولعنة الله على القوم الظالمين لنا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله، صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة، يا باب نجاة الأمة، يا عبرة لكل مؤمن ومؤمنات، يا غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء. فيا ليتني يا ليتني كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، قال الله الحكيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، قد أفلح من تزكاها. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum. We begin by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has allowed us to gather at least once more in our lives for the musibat of Abba Abdullah. For if you ponder on your life, there is no greater blessing, no greater ni'mat, and no wealth you possess of greater value than Majlis of Hussein alayhi salam. There is nothing equal to this blessing, and here we are with the karam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have a whole series of majalis for Abu Abdullah. We are truly lucky to have these opportunities. Ponder on this one point, if you will, that Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam says that you will never finish counting and thanking Allah for one blessing He has given you. For He says, if you pick any one ni'mat of Allah and you thank Him, you must then thank Him for the ability to thank for that ni'mat. And then you must thank Him once more for being able to recognize He is worthy of thanks. And indeed, the more you keep going, you never actually finish doing haqq for one ni'mat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we cannot thank Allah for one ni'mat, one blessing you can pick in your life, how will you thank Him for the greatest blessing that you have? This Majalis of Hussein alayhi salam. How can we finish thanking Him that He gave me the ma'rifah to come to the masjid on the night for Abu Abdullah alayhi salam? This is a blessing, and we are very lucky to have this blessing, honestly. Sometimes there's an idea in our community which we need to counter, that there is an ending to the ayyam of azan. But Ashura is done, so Majlis is done. Eid Zahra is done, Majlis is done. But this is not how the Ahl al-Bayt mourns for Abu Abdullah, neither is it how creation mourns for Abu Abdullah. The sky is still mourning for Hussein alayhi salam in our narrations. And the earth is still mourning for Abu Abdullah. Hatta until now, it's mourning. Malaika, musibatan ma a'adama wa a'adama raziyata fil Islam. They are mourning for Abu Abdullah still. Our Ahl al-Bayt, they go for the markets and they see signs of Karbala and remember Abu Abdullah. At their death, how many of the Imams mention Abu Abdullah? Because they're living with that grief. So why do we sometimes stop mourning for Abu Abdullah? It's strange. This is a learned behavior. It makes no sense why I will stop crying for Abu Abdullah. And so these Ashra Ifani that we do, and these extra Khamsas that we do, are very important because they remind us Azadari does not stop with Ashura, it continues. With the Azara it continues, we learn something else as well. Sallallahu Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. If someone did ask you, prove to me how much you love Abu Abdullah. Like how much do you love Hussein alayhi salam? Normally we point to Majlis and say we come to Majlis of Hussein and this is my proof that I love Abu Abdullah. I wear black, I bring my children and I come to the Majlis. But the truth is there is something much deeper going on which we should be referring to, which is how much did I allow this Majlis to affect me? Not just I came to Majlis, how much did I take from Majlis back to my life? Because if I just mention, prove your Azadar, I come to Majlis, I wear black, I do matam, I do all these things. They'll say to us, okay fine, but when you leave the Majlis, do you stop being an Azadar suddenly? Has that pehjan, that identity ended now? We answer no, because somehow the Majlis should affect the core identity of who you are. It should change you as a human being. The series we're going to be discussing for the next 5 days is associated to this topic right here. That how do we allow the love for Abu Abdullah transform ourselves into our own qalb? What's the nisbah between Abu Abdullah and your heart? This is a lengthy discussion. And there are pages and pages in the books about how the insan's tazkiyat nafs is linked directly to Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. In fact, the true title of this series is the following. What is the strength and mentality of the love of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam? MashaAllah. That's the title of these series. What is your true strength inside all of you? What's your actual quwwah? Which we never knew our potential until Abu Abdullah came and showed us our potential. Wow. And mentality. Why sometimes do I get weak? As a man or as a sister, why do I become weak? Why do I become low? Go towards things which are worth so little when I have an Imam like Abu Abdullah. Something's not right here. If I go all day to Majlis of Hussein alayhi salam, it should change me as insan. Because if it doesn't, what is the point of Majlis if I don't become an Azadar of Abu Abdullah in my life? So, our topic is on this for the next 5 nights. How do we go back to Karbala and find in Karbala the pieces which when put together make you a soldier for Abu Abdullah today right now? Because I wasn't there on Karbala, but I am here now. And I have to prove today in my amal, if I was there, I would have been with you, Abu Abdullah. That's why we say, Ya laytani kunna ma'akum. That's why we say this. If only I was there, I would have been with you, Ya Abu Abdullah. We say it all the time. A man would say this. There's a story. He'd say these lines continuously. Ya laytani kunna ma'akum. I wish I was with you, Ya Abu Abdullah. One day he has a dream. He falls asleep. In his dream, he sees Abu Abdullah in front of him. An arrow flies towards him. He ducks, the arrow hits Abu Abdullah behind him. This is in one of the stories. Imam Hussein says to him, don't say Ya Laytani if you don't mean it. Don't say you would have been with me, because look, you said you would have been with me, but when the arrow came, you ducked, you fell, you did not stand your ground. Abu Abdullah needs men who stand their ground and sisters who also stand in their own place as well. We need to have this. I don't want to be like that man who's always crying for Abu Abdullah and mourning for Abu Abdullah, but when the time came, he lets him down. Same thing in his life. Do you know there are people who killed Abu Abdullah who loved Abu Abdullah? It's a fact. They loved him. What is he told by Debil when he's walking towards Karbala? He says, the people of Kufa, what is their opinion towards me? Ya Abu Abdullah, I'll tell you if you are honest, I'll tell you. What's the answer? Their hearts are with you, but their swords are against you. What's the value of the heart if your swords are not with Abu Abdullah? Muhabbat has a limit. Ishq goes further. Ashura is not about Muhabbat, it's about Ishq. You know what the Ishq of Ashura? A man is prepared to cut his arms off for the sake of Abu Abdullah. This is Ishq. Abbas says, Hubbul Hussein Majnani. Love Hussein is maybe Majnoon for this Hubb of Abu Abdullah. I've reached a new realm of Ishq for Abu Abdullah. Ishq is when you would stand in front of Abu Abdullah, like Sa'd bin Abdullah does, a Muslim in Al-Sajjad, and they would catch the arrows before it hits Abu Abdullah. The books tell us, how did they die? These companions, while he's praying Dhuhr Salat, they'd stand in front of him, and they would jump to catch arrows before they hit Abu Abdullah. He finishes namaz, he goes to them, he says to them, what are your last words? And they say to him, this is our wasiyah. After they were jumping in front of arrows. Okay, so not just hope, something else is going on here that's making them jump in front of arrows. This is ishq. It's a much deeper level. In our series for Majalis, we want to know this idea. That how do I go from just simple muhabbat to ishq for Abu Abdullah? So that if today the arrows are fired towards Islam, I don't duck, I catch those arrows rather than Islam has any be'izzah, I'll take the wounds of this religion. That's what we know in the discussion, inshallah. Now, to get there, I would like to mention one riwayat, and this riwayat opens up many doors of discussion, so I need your attention, inshallah. Are you with me? Bismillah. بحب فاطمة صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. And for Lord Muhammad alayhi salam to welcome him to this majalis and these 5 majalises. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Our 7th Imam narrates us, he says, Inna Allahu ta'ala ala nas hujjatain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the people 2 things, 2 proofs. All insan have these 2 proofs in them. Proofs towards Allah, towards truth. Hujjatain. Awwalan zahiran wal batinan. One is present, one is hidden. All insan have these 2 proofs in them. Imam al-Qadim says, Amma zahir, as for the evident proof of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hada rasul wal anbiya. This is the prophets that come and see you. The Anbiya, the prophets, and with this the books and the Imams. They are your open proof of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَأَمَّا الْبَاطِنِ. As for that which is hidden, al-aqul. Your reason, your aql is your proof for you. All insan have these 2 things. Someone will guide you in your life at some point, some external prophet or book or Imam. Someone will come, and inside this aql, this reason. These 2 things point towards the same destination, towards Allah and Haqq and Ahlul Bayt and all those things. But they are not the same. One is zahir, one is batin. The one which is zahir is your prophet. وَلِكُلِّ أُمَّةٍ حَادٍ. Quran says every ummah has a guide or a warner. And they'll come to every community and warn them, go towards truth, not towards batin. But if there's no prophet that's ever been sent to you, if you live in a place where there's no anbiya, you should at least know right and wrong through your aql. So in our school of law, one of the most important principles we have is called husn wa qub aqli. All fatwas, all hukums, all maraja, all those things come from this one principle. Husn wa qub aqli. Right and wrong have some rational existence where if no one tells you, you know murder is wrong. If no one tells you, you know lying is wrong. Somehow, in good and bad, there's some rational thing there. That if you were alone on an island and no one came to you with khabar or news, you would have some basic idea of right and wrong just through your own reason. Imam Qadim says, there's 2 hujjah within you. One's in front of you, one's inside you. As what's in front of the Anbiya, the Imams, the Prophets, all of those guidance. As what's inside you, your aql. And when we go to the Day of Judgment, we'll be asked, you are going to be punished based on what you knew, because your aql knew right and wrong, even if you didn't know all of the rulings of the Ahlul Bayt. You knew right and wrong inside you. So be answerable for these things. Okay. Why do I mention this narration now? It's because if you go through the books, you'll find that wherever the inside or the outside hujjah is mentioned, whether it's the anbiya or whether it's the qalb inside, two things always come up. Whether it's prophets, whether it's aql, two morals keep coming up again and again and again. Number one, whether you're using your reason or your profit, you have to become a better human being. This is always in the books. Improving yourself, islah, reform, tazkiyah. This is in all of our books of narrations and the Quran. You use either the prophet or your nafs to go towards Allah for being a good person. The other thing which keeps coming up remarkably, whether you're going to the books of the aql or the books of the prophets, whoever they are, they will always guide you towards loving Ahlul Bayt. It's always there. Whether you're going to the philosophers discussing the nafs, it always ends with Ahlul Bayt. Whether you're going to the prophets, they all preach the same thing, love Ali Muhammad. They've not been born yet, but they're still saying the same thing. This is a lesson for us. You can't be a good person without Ahlul Bayt. You can't have Ahlul Bayt unless you keep becoming a better person. Whether you're using your own reason or you're going to the Prophet, they're saying the same thing. Be a better person and love your Imam. These things don't leave each other. Now come back to where I began my majlis. I'm an Azadari of Abdullah, I'm a love of Abdullah. When they ask me, prove you love Abu Abdullah, I should need to say I'm Azadari. My action should prove I'm Azadari. I shouldn't need to say I'm an Azadari. They should look at me and say, because of how you are, you have what? One of these two things. Love of Ali Muhammad or you have self-development. These things go together. And the best of us are the biggest lovers of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam says you will recognize our Shia in the towns in which they live. Not you'll ask them their names. Not you'll ask them their laqab or you'll see their dressing. Just by how they live in their towns, you'll know they're our Shia. Just by their actions. Then he says, therefore be for us an ornament, not a disgrace. That when they look at you, they think of us. When they see you, they should think of us. So do good deeds. Another Imam says that our Shias are the ones, the same footsteps we walk, they walk the same footsteps. Now not literally, but it means in their amal, we do the same amal. And amal comes from ilm. They have the same, ilm and amal are from the same root words. Ayn, mim and lam. They just switch the letters around. If you know something, you have to act on the same thing. If you act on something, it should come from ilm. This is Karbala. Karbala is this very point. That if you truly love Abu Abdullah, your actions should prove you love Abu Abdullah. And if you love Abu Abdullah, you should always be seeking to gain more and more ilm for the sake of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. Inda al-hujjatain, all of you have two proofs inside of you. One is your reason, one is the one who comes to you. The one who comes to you reminds you, open up your aql. When you open up, you realize two things. Number one, I have to be a better person. But number two, I can't do it without knowing the Imam of my time. For the time I have left, inshallah, I want to go through these 2 points. How is the deeper you go into knowing the Prophet in front of you, you have these 2 things. Self-development, love for your Imam. And if you go inside yourself, the same 2 things come up again. Self-development, love for your Imam. If we understand this point, we'll understand what Abu Abdullah wants from us today, inshallah. Sallallahu ala Muhammad. As for the Zahir prophets, this could be literally Rasulullah, it could be the Quran, it could be Ahlul Bayt, but they are the Rasul, the Nabi which comes to you. They're outside of you. The point of them is, they remind you of the first thing of course is, perfection your akhlaq. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأَتَمَّ الْمَكَارِمُ الْأَخْلَاقِ. The Prophet says, is narrated to have said, I have not been sent except for this one thing, أَتَمَّ الْمَكَارِمُ الْأَخْلَاقِ, to perfect the akhlaq of those around me. That's why I've been sent. The Quran praises his akhlaq. The akhlaq, every child knows the stories of the akhlaq of the Holy Prophet. The Quran calls him khuluqin adim sometimes. You have the best of akhlaq in you. No one's better than you in akhlaq. They would say to you, Ya Rasulullah, why are you such a good listener? They'd call him adun, ear, as an insult. Quran says, Huwa adunun khayru lakum. He is an ear, but he's the best ear for you. He listens to all of your issues and distress. This deen is nothing except akhlaq. So on the first time, all the prophets have come for this one thing. Remind you to go back to Allah with good akhlaq and adab. All the prophets. Insan, from Adam until Khatam, goes in different directions. There is some prophet who sent to remind you, go back towards Allah and perfect your own akhlaq. A man comes to the Prophet and says to him, what is deen? What is religion? The Prophet says, it is husn wa khalq, having good akhlaq. Again he says, what's deen? Same answer, husn wa akhlaq. The man is trying to make the Prophet angry. Again, what's deen? What's deen? What's deen? Same answer, husn wa khalq, having good character. The Prophet says, do you know something? Why do you keep asking me? There's nothing in deen except husn wa khalq.
Wow.
All of the, I have no other answer for you. Then he says, all of those who go to Jannah, the majority will go to Jannah because of their good character and their akhlaq. On the one hand, what's the point of the prophets? Akhlaq. إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لَأَتَمَّ مَكَارِمُ الْأَخْلَاقِ. Imam Sadiq says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this incumbent on all of us. That makarim al-akhlaq means when you find good character in you, know it came from someone. That's your prophet who gave you good character. On the one hand, we have this point. Islam, the Prophet, the Quran, Ahlul Bayt are for this one reason, perfect your faith. But the way you perfect your akhlaq always seems to be with love for Ahlul Bayt. If akhlaq is something they're trying to create, they always use Ali Muhammad's love to create this akhlaq. Everywhere you go, it's there. Adam is in, before he's been sent to this earth, and he's been taught the names. And the Quran says, وَإِذَا سَوَيْتَهُ وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي فَقُولُوا سَاجِدِينَ. We shaped you, and we breathed into you from our soul, and then you did sajda. And everyone did sajda towards you. Okay, what comes before? Well, we gave you our ruh, our soul. Only then you became worthy of sajda. So the ulama ask, when does Adam become worthy of sajda? It's after this verse that we taught you the names. What were those names? Go to the books. The first name is Mahmud, from which we have the name Muhammad. Second name is A'ala, from which we have the name of Ali. Third name is Fatir Samawati wal Ard, from which we have the name of Fatima. Fourth name is Muhsin, from which we have the name of Hassan. And the fifth name is Qadimul Ihsan, from which we have the name of Abdullah alayhi salam. Only when he learns these 5 names of Ali Muhammad, he becomes worthy of sajda. And when he hears the 5th name, he starts crying. He mourns for Abu Abdullah. He literally starts weeping. He says, Ya Allah, I don't know why I'm crying, but when you mentioned the 5th name, something in me made me weep for Abu Abdullah, which is proof for all of you. You know when you cry for Abu Abdullah, it's in your fitrah, you are Banu Adam, it's in your nature to cry for Abu Abdullah. No child needs to be taught to cry for Hussein. Adam didn't know why, but he was crying. And from Adam till now, it's inside all of us to mourn for Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. Okay, he's taught the names. وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي. And we breathe into you from our soul. The narrations tell us, what does this mean? Majlis says it means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took that same nur from which everything was created. أَوَّلَ مَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ نُورِي, the Prophet says. From that nur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed it inside the loins of Adam. The moment he's placed, now he becomes worthy of sajda. Not before. Yani Adam, before this nur enters him, this ruh, this nur, is not worthy of sajda. He's like a shadow lying beside the arsh. People walk past him, malaika walk past him. No one looks at him. But the moment the love of Ali Muhammad and the nur of Ali Muhammad goes inside him, all of creation must do sajda towards him. Sajda for Ali Muhammad is not shirk. Sajda Ali Muhammad is the sunnah of Adam. Sajda for Ali Muhammad of their izzat is part of being Banu Adam. Hatta even the jinn and malaika are doing sajda towards Adam. Why? There's nur inside him, nur of Muhammad. Now you know why shaitan is jealous. For he says, Ya Allah, Adam's made of clay. I'm made of fire. How can fire bow down to clay when there's nur in clay and not fire? This nur was worthy of what? Sajda, nur of Ali Muhammad. Okay. Now this nur goes in Adam. From Adam until all the prophets underneath, they carry that same nur continuously. All the prophets are saying the same thing. Makarim al-akhlaq, they have nur in them, guiding them towards the same answer. Why is there akhlaq? Because the nur in them guides them towards akhlaq. Okay, this nur then splits for the first time in creation. It's never split before, as Abdul Muttalib. Now that same nur splits into 2. One piece of this anwar goes to Abu Talib, one piece goes to Abdullah. They are separate now. One is known as the nur of Risala, and one is the nur of Wilaya. They have to join again. They can't remain separate for too long. And the person whom they join again is none other than Sayyid Fatima alayhi salam. And from her comes the Sadat and the Aimmat, all of those things, when that anwar are joined together one more time. Why am I saying this? Because I've been telling you, all the prophets did one thing. They would guide him towards akhlaq. Inna deen akhlaq, makarim al-akhlaq. Same thing, akhlaq. But how did they do this? Through the nur of Ali Muhammad. That same thing which motivates them was the nur of Ali Muhammad. That thing was the thing which helped them to fulfill their task. I'll give one example about this to make this point very clear. Sallallahu alayhi wa Muhammad. About how akhlaq and Ahlul Bayt are together throughout history in the life of the prophets. Example, the prophet sitting down with his companions. All of his companions are sitting down with him. Those brave, those of fear as well. They are the rawi of this narration. The door opens. A being of great ugliness and fear walks in. And all the companions become scared about this being. That, who is this? And they become startled in their place. The being comes in calmly, sits in front of Rasulullah and says, Ya Rasulullah. Many are scared by looking at me. Do you allow me to introduce myself so they become less fearful of who I am? He says, yes, tell me who are you? He says, Ana Ham ibn Haim ibn Labis ibn Iblis. I am Ham, the great grandson of Iblis. I'm a jinn. And I've come to ask you a question. That's why I look like this. I'm not insan. Prophet says, ask you a question. Why have you come towards me? He says, I have a question for you. I am the great grandson of Shaitan himself. And Iblis told me one thing. I have a mission for you. Misguide all the Anbiya from treating the akhlaq of the people. Don't let them treat the people of their akhlaq. Misguide them. So that's why I was sent to them. I went to Adam. When I went to Adam, I tried to make him commit a sin so people would follow him and commit sins as well. But someone stopped me and prevented me from committing a sin. So I thought to myself, well, it must be the prophet after, because each prophet has a wali after them. Okay, the prophet after was sheep. I went to sheep. But it wasn't him. And the same being came and stopped me from misguiding him. So I thought it must be the prophet after. I went to the next prophet. The same being from the Adam until now keeps stopping me. I went to Ibrahim, to Yusuf, to Yunus, to Musa, to Isa. Every prophet I go to, the same being stops me from causing them to do a sin. So I asked myself, it must be the next prophet who's protecting the previous prophet. Ya Rasulullah, you are Khatamun Nabiyyin. I thought it was you, but it's not you. It doesn't even look like you. My question is this, from Adam till now, who is that being who keeps stopping me from making a prophet commit a sin? Who is that person? The Prophet says to him, if you saw him now, would you recognize him? Would you know who he is? He says, Ya Rasulullah, all my life I've seen the same being. Of course I know who he is. Next to Prophet Imam is sitting with his head facing down. Prophet takes his hand and lifts his chin upwards, just so he can see the wajh of Ali. When he sees, he jumps and says, Ya Rasulullah, I bear witness from Adam till now, the one man who keeps stopping me from causing any sin is this one man beside you. Who is this man next to you that from Adam till now he stops me? My enemy from Adam, who is he? Rasulullah says, what does he say? Hada akhi. وابن عمي ووسيم ووارثي وموضع سري أبو الحسنين مولاء القونين إمام الثقلين يعصوب الدين رئيس الموحدين قائد الغر المحجلين سيد المتقين وأمير المؤمنين أسد الله الغالب غالب كل غالب مظهر العجائب علي بن أبي طالب. That same thing from Adam till now, he stopped them from sinning. That the nur was so strong of Ali of Haydar-e-Karrar, no prophet could be misguided because of that nur of Ali. They tried, Fir'aun tried, Abraha tried, Thamud tried, Lut tried, Iblis himself tried, but none of them could beat Ali in single combat. All of akhlaq. All akhlaq comes where? From nur of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He protects them. Now come back to me and you. What is that prophet for? How is that prophet helping me? Two things. That prophet showed you should perfect yourself and do good deeds. But he also showed you if you don't love Ali, you can't accomplish this task. If you don't love Ali, how are you going to succeed in your akhlaq? Ali helps the Anbiya. Is he not going to help us as well? Okay, end up hujjah. You have two hujjah. One is what? The prophet in front of you. One is the prophet inside you. That prophet inside you is what? It's your aql, your reason. That aql continuously pushes you towards good deeds. But sometimes inside of us, we don't listen to that aql. We ignore it. We allow other voices inside us to control the self, the nafs. There's a beautiful hadith which I'll go into more detail in tomorrow's lecture, but I'll mention it now by Imam Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam. Imam says that every insan is facing a continuous struggle inside themselves. And there are three outcomes to the war inside every insan. Two forces fighting for the self. One is aql, one is shahwat. It's the narration. Your reason and your desires. And they are constantly fighting for the qalb of insan. Now Baqir says only three things can happen. Number one, your desires will win over you. This qalb is called a reversed heart, he says, where your heart becomes deaf, like someone as the Quran says, and it becomes la yafqa'un, it cannot see anymore, and you're doing evil deeds, and you can't even stop yourself doing evil deeds. Because you've completely sold your qalb to your desires. Literally, any desire comes, money, fame, wealth, power, women, these things, you can't say no because your heart has been sold already to them. This is one option. Option two, nur wins in your heart. Aql wins in your heart. Your heart is dominated by your reason and by your love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As our sixth Imam says, aql is a nur Allah shines in the heart of the believer. You've allowed your heart to be shined by Allah. Option 2. Option 3. Neither one has won completely, but they are constantly fighting for your qalb. And there's a black spot in the middle of your heart, a metaphorical black spot, and every time one force looks like it's winning, the black spot either increases or decreases based on which force is winning. If aql wins, Imam al-Baqir says, that black spot becomes lower and lower and lower. If your shahwat win, the black spot increases until your whole heart becomes black. That's the Quran says, في قلوبهم some qalb maradan, فزادهم الله maradan. There are some hearts which are sick, and Allah increases their sickness. With qaswa or shaddu qaswa, with blackness, hardness, and more hardness than even stone. A heart can be like that. But the answer is, most people are like the third group. They're constantly fighting between the two. I think many of us know what this feels like. Some good days, some bad days. Some good deeds, some bad deeds. And I haven't won yet. I'm still fighting. But I've not given up yet either. I'm coming to Majlis, I'm trying to pray my salat, I'm doing Rosa and Ramadan, and I'm hoping for a way back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That heart is in the third state. There is a black spot in the heart, and constantly one is trying to beat the other. Akhlaq then is your effort to make aql beat over jahl, to make nur beat shahwat. Because the more good deeds you do, the more you are allowing one army to defeat the other army. And Imam says in the narration where he says, the ally of your aql is wisdom from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that wisdom only comes from Ali Muhammad and the Quran. That's where it comes from. So maybe I'm like this, where I have made many sins in my life, and I regret my past for what I have done. But the heart has not yet been sold, like for example, the La'in who killed Abu Abdullah. The hearts were so hard, they could not even stop themselves killing the Madlum on that day. Their heart was definitely sold. And Karbala, in many ways, you can actually see who's winning the battle inside by seeing what side are they on. If they're on the side of Abu Abdullah, you know for a fact they've worked on their qalb, and they have at least allowed aql to overpower their desires. But if you see someone on the other side, you know for a fact that person's heart has already been sold for shaitan and iblis. Because they're standing literally there. What happens inside affects what happens outside. And the Imam ends the hadith by saying, whichever force wins the qalb wins you. If the desires win, they win you, you're owned by them. And if your aql wins, you're owned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You choose who you sell yourself to. Now Abu Abdullah comes and says, your soul has been made for Jannah. So don't sell yourself for anything less than Jannah. On the one hand, the purpose of qalb is this, what I've just said. To purify yourself to such a degree that you sell yourself for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for Jannah. But the way we do that is with ma'rifat of Ahl al-Bayt. For the narration says, مَنْ عَرَفَ نَفْسَهُ فَقَدْ عَرَفَ إِمَامَهُ. If you know yourself, you'll know your Imam. Naturally, you just know your Imam. Because inside of you, there's some missing gap which cannot be filled except with the love of Ali Muhammad. You've been made like this. مَنْ عَرَفَ نَفْسَهُ. If you try to know yourself, you will find you will naturally fall in love with your Imam of your time. Many people sell their heart for many things. One guy sells his heart for his job. One guy sells his heart for his relationship. One guy sells his heart to the highest bidder. One guy sells his heart to his desires. They've sold themselves. But the Masalik says, Al-Qalbu haramullah. The qalb is the belonging of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why you sell yourself for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone asks, they might ask, how do I sell my soul to Allah the way Ali sells his soul to Allah? Ali said his soul. Quran praises him. Man ashtara Allah, the one who Allah purchases is Ali ibn Abi in this verse. He bought Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he sold himself. How does he do it? That I want to do the same thing in my life. Imam Ali says, I stood at the gate of my heart and I let none in except Allah. You know that gate of my heart? I stood there and I made sure these eyes look for Allah, hada aynullah. These hands touch for Allah, he becomes yadullah. This face looks toward Allah, hada wajhullah. Wherever he moves, he becomes belonging to Allah. Hatta when he dies, there's nothing left, there's only fustubara bil Kaaba. This man has sold himself what? And he says, I don't see an action except that I see Allah before it, during it and after it. When you love Allah, your heart with Him, anything can happen to your body, but you've sold your heart to Allah already. You could be asleep in a bed with enemies surrounding you. And you've been told, Ya Ali, tonight they'll come and fight you. And when you lie there, you sleep. And when you ask, Ya Ali, how could you sleep when the enemies come? He'd say, not only I slept, I have never slept a more peaceful sleep than that night. He sold himself to Allah. He's given his heart. Why would he be afraid of his heart with God already? I get hurt when I get a paper clip. I get hurt when I break my foot. I get hurt when I fall over, but Ali cannot feel the pain of an arrow in his namaz. They say, Ali, the arrow's too much. He says, when he prays, then take it out. So when Ali prays only, then they take the arrow. He doesn't feel the pain anymore. Why? His qalb has been purchased by God. What is pain for the body? Now come to Karbala, same thing. They've sold themselves to Allah already. Why would they feel pain anymore? Why are they jumping for arrows? The pain of arrow is less, love of Hussein is much more than these arrows. The Shair says about this point, the Shair says, Kab kat gaye shane, kab mashhad yaad hai Abbas ko lekin. Kab mashhad yaad hai Abbas ko lekin, kab kat gaye shane, unhe yaad nahi hai. Yeah? He remembers all those pain, but he can't cut his arms off because he's intoxicated by the love of Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. We've got to be like this. Yeah, that I'm ready to sell myself for Abu Abdullah, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I do this through these two things, hujjatain. Either I look for the Prophet in my life, in front of me, the book in front of me, the Imam in front of me, and I listen to them, or I look inside. And the deeper I look inside, I will just find signs of this reality. That in life there are two things for us to do. Perfect our character, love your Imam. When you do one, you find the other. When you do the other, you end up doing the pride. These things go together. And that's why in this series we're going to be looking at this point. That how do I perfect myself so much I have the mentality and strength of a true lover of Abdullah. That if I wasn't there on Karbala, I'm still with him today. The ulama say, do you know what this means? They say, you know the farshi azab which we put underneath us? Don't think of it as cut off from the land of Karbala. It's part of it. Karbala extends until every piece of cloth in every house or center for Majalis. You're not separate to that struggle. So I have to prove to my Imam somehow that I would have joined you. And maybe in my actions I can prove this point. And here's the last point to all of us inshallah. The best proof we can make is Imam Zamana alayhi salam. That I wasn't there for Abu Abdullah. I wasn't. But I am here now. So if he calls on me, I will answer. I'll become like the Hur of today. Habib of today. Abbas of today. That he relies upon me for his own struggle. For the time will come for Imam Zamana when he'll be looking for those to support him. And we cannot be anything less than Shuhada of Karbala. We should at least aim for Shuhada of Karbala, to be like them. The Prophet says those who helped Imam Zaman Islam, they are like those who helped Imam Hussein Islam. It's the same army. Just like the land of Karbala extends to every farshi azab, the saf of the army of Abu Abdullah extends to the armies of today as well. It's one army of Abu Abdullah. And that's why we cry when we see a man who had 72 with him, now has none. Men after men ready to fight for Abu Abdullah. And now there is no man left for Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salam. Take your minds and hearts now to Karbala, to that plains of Karbala, where there are many bodies lying there. Many bodies lying there. It is the Arab custom of that time that when you kill an army, you trample all of their bodies. And so 72 bodies have been laying on the plains of Karbala, and the horses are ready to trample them. But stop, a man says. Don't trample the body of Habib, for we are from Banu Asad. And we cannot allow that someone from our tribe can be seen in our eyes that his body is trampled. Move his body. They move Habib's body. A man from our Riyah, he comes and says, well, Hur is from our tribe, so you can't trample his body either. Move his body. One by one, that 72 becomes less and less, for there's either a mother or father from that home to take their body away. Now there's only the family of Abdullah left. Ali Akbar is lying there. One line says Ali Akbar's mother is related to Abu Sufyan, move his body. We cannot see Ali Akbar's body being trampled. Another one comes and says Abbas from the family of Shimr as well. We can't allow it to happen, they move his body. One by one, each body is moved until there's only one body left lying on the plains of Karbala. There's no man or woman left to say he's from my family. His mother is Zahra, his father is Ali. No one's left from family of Zahra, and the only one left for Ali is one Bimar Imam who can't stand up anymore. So they say, Umar ibn Sa'ad says, there's only one body left, trample this last body. Who will trample the body? The books say, 10 men stood and said, we have been spending the last night of Karbala sharpening the hooves of our horses for this one moment. So one by one, those 10 horses come and trample the body of Abu Abdullah. They kick his body so far from where he falls to where he's buried. There are many meters in between. Imam Sajjadiya is listening. The narration says, as they're listening to this one moment, there's a loud cracking noise made. Zainab says, Sajjad, what's this noise? I've never heard it before. Sajjad says, Ya Ummi Zainab, this is the noise of the ribs of my father being cracked onto the horse of the hooves. Imam Mahdi, you know what Imam Mahdi says? Salam on those left ribs which were then trampled into the right side of the body. And salam on those right ribs which went to the left side of that body. Now come to Shaam-e-abbas. Zainab looks and sees there's one lash lying there. Its whole chest has been broken. She says, Ya Rasulullah, Hada al-Husayn al-Gharib. Jismuhu fi dima bila ghusl wala kafan. This is Hussein on the plains of Karbala. There is no kafan, there is no jism, there is no kafan, there's only blood on this body. The narration says, as she says this, she's walking past going towards Kufa, but she sees Abu Abdullah, she starts crying. She cries, Sajjad cries, but Sakina runs towards the maqtal. This 4-year-old girl can't just stand, they say. Sakina runs. Now ask yourself, all of you have heard since childhood, Sakina runs and lays her cheek on the chest of Abu Abdullah. But I have just mentioned how much this chest was trampled by the horses. So how does this 4-year-old girl, whose cheek is already bruised from the tamashe, now lie her cheek on this broken chest of Abu Abdullah? They say she lies there. Abu Abdullah whispers some words to her and then she runs back. Zainab says, Sakina, I have to ask you a question. When you went just now and you laid your cheek on the chest of my brother Abu Abdullah, he said something to you. What did he say? She says, oh my auntie Zainab, Abu Abdullah, my father said 2 things to me. The first thing he said to me was, whenever you see anyone drinking cold water, don't forget the thirst, for ana qatl bil hal atash atash. I was killed while I was thirsty. Then he says, what's the second thing? Whenever any Shia sees someone gharib in their town, tell them, even though they are gharib, ana gharib al-ghuraba. I am the most gharib of all of them. Don't forget my ghurbat when you see them. One after riwayat to all of you. Then they leave, they go towards Kufa. Now someone has to bury this body. How could he be buried for 3 days like this? There are different narrations. How was he buried? One riwayat says, do you know how he's buried? They say, that's when Islam bought the land of Karbala. What does he say? He says, what's this land called? One says, Hada Nasiriya, Hada Daf, Hada Ghadiriya. Then he says, Hada Karbala. This is Karbala. He says, I want to purchase this land. Then he says, I have 2 things. Number 1, when I purchase this land, at some point I will say, Hal min Nasirin yansurna. When you hear my voice, run, for I will just have buried Ali Asghar, and if you hear my voice, you must answer. Second thing he says, after I say Hal min Nasirin, when I'm killed, please put a kafan on my body. If there's no kafan, put some cloth on my body. If there's no cloth, when your children play, tell them take some small pieces of stone, put it on my body. Why? He says, I am the son of Zahra, and the son of Zahra should have at least a kafan on his body. All of us say, listen, he's buried like this. Other scholars say, no, now he's buried, they say, Zuhair bin Qayn, when he dies, his wife runs to the maqtal, and his wife says, that send my slave to go and bury Zuhair. She gives him one kafan, she says, Zuhair, my soul slave, find the body of Zuhair, he's my husband. It's not right, my husband should be buried without a kafan on the plains of Karbala. Find him. And the slave runs to the maqtal. He takes this one cloth and he comes back. He says, oh wife of Zuhair, I still need one more kafan to bury your husband. She says, oh man, I just sent you to bury Zuhair with this kafan. Why have you come back asking for another kafan? The man says, when I went to find Zuhair, I saw his body, but near his body I saw Abu Abdullah lying next to him, and I thought to myself, who is more worthy to have this kafan, Zuhair or Sayyid al-Shuhada, who Rasulullah himself raised as a child? So I gave him the kafan. The second view. The third view says, how is he buried? They say Imam Sajjadiya was in Kufa, and the time comes to bury him. Imam Sajjad leaves Kufa and goes towards Karbala. As he goes to Karbala, he said what? He said, I saw there were only bodies lying there with no kafan. Sajjad himself kneels down with his hands, he tries to dig a qabr for Abu Abdullah. Then he finds someone's already dug a grave for Abu Abdullah already. Angels come and say, Sajjad, you are alone today, but we will help you bury Abu Abdullah. Sajjad says, who are you angels who help me? They say, when your uncle Hassan was killed, we helped Abu Abdullah bury him. When your grandfather Ali was killed, we came and helped them bury him. When your grandmother Zahra's ribs were broken and Ali went to bury her alone in the night, we came to help him. Ya Sajjad, this is Gharib al-Ghuraba. We will help you bury Abu Abdullah. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Ridha wa qadahi wa taslim bi amri. Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. We pray that for these tears, forgive all of our sins, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, all these youth who are here come to listen here, they all be raised to live the life of Azadari of Hussain alayhi salam. Finally, Ya Allah, this Majalis, let it be closely connected and be something Imam alayhi salam is pleased with, inshallah. اللهم إني أسألك بحق فاطمة وبها بعلي وبنيها والسر المستعان فيها عن صلى الله عليه محمد ماتم الحسين.
Ya Hussain, 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 Ya Hussain. परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने मैनू बाज़ारां च करवाए सफर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने मैं मोहम्मद दी नवासियां दसेंदी रहियां वास्ता तेरा भी मैं नाना पवेंदी रहियां तेरे भी मार दिते मेरे पुत्र लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां ने नाना विच परदेस दिल पिया मेरा घर लोकां दसेंदी रैया वास्ता तेरा भी मैं नाना पलेंदी रैया तेरे भी मार दिते मेरे पुत्र लो काने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो काने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो काने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो काने तेरी गर्दन तू चुमदा रे नाना साई चोदा हाल होया भुलना नहीं माशर ताई उस गर्दन पे चला छोड़ खंजर लो खाने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो गाने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो गाने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो गाने मेरी गर्दन तू चुमदा रे नाना साई गोदा हाल होया भुलना नहीं माशर ताई उस गर्दन पे चला छोड़ खंजर लो काने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो गाने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो गाने विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो गाने मैनू बुरके कई साल पलेंदी रैया अब जागा ओनू सीने ते समलेंदी रैया चीर चढ़िया ओदा कर जिगर लो काने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो गाने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो गाने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो गाने मैनू बुरके कई साल पलेंदी रैया आप जागा ओनू सीने ते समलेंदी रैया तीर चढ़िया ओदा कर जिगर लो काने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो गाने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो गाने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो गाने नैया पतरा दुनिया बरसाता चिगुत पे पड़दी हर कदम पे रही वीरन दे मैं रुतबे दसदी मेरे पुतबे गालिया कुछ ना असर लो गाने नाना विच परदेस दे लुटिया मेरा घर लो